6 extraordinary days of God's presence, fervent prayer, and ardent Jewish worship. This is the KJMC Kyiv Spring Retreat.
For me, our retreat is a time of renewal, when you leave everything behind, so to speak, and come to immerse yourself in God's presence, to be refreshed in ministry, in your family, and encounter God.
What deeply touched me was the worship time yesterday. After morning worship ended, they simply began to worship in the Spirit. It was very powerful. It was spontaneous. Not part of the program, but the Holy Spirit was doing something incredible.
Among the major prayer sessions were prayers for pastors, rabbis, and their assistants, as well as the children's prayer session.
This is our future. If we wait to pray until problems arise, it's usually already too late. We need to be proactive and take care of our future generations, our children now.
As far as attendance in the hall is concerned, this retreat is the largest since the full-scale war in Ukraine began. Hundreds of people stood shoulder to shoulder praying for Ukraine, Israel, and the spiritual awakening of Europe.
You praying for Canada, praying for the United States, praying for Israel in this time of distress. In this time of uncertainty, you have the hope in Him and you're focusing on others. That was just absolutely amazing, and it's a message for the world, really.
If only Ukraine could touch Him! Ukraine shall be healed! All its people!
During prayer and worship, the Lord performed extraordinary miracles for everyone.
My younger son is 12 years old, and my knee has been hurting ever since he was born. I've had numerous MRIs and x-rays, and 60% of my knee was worn out. But as a believer, I decided I wouldn't miss the dances and circle activities. I would join them despite the pain. We prayed, and after that, I started examining myself, and now my knees feel numb. In other words, it no longer hurts.
When I first joined the retreat, my right ear began to hurt. But when Boris Sayulovich said, "Check yourself," I discovered it no longer hurt. When it first started hurting, I realized I needed to give everything to God, go to the retreat, and God would heal me.
Guests and pastors alike shared inspiring words from God. One of their messages was especially relevant regarding victory over grief and difficult circumstances.
Whenever a person experiences grief, there is always a temptation to shut oneself off from others and be alone. That's why it's so important to have fellowship with people. When we come together in fellowship with our brothers and sisters who support each other and pray for each other, we have our wonderful Lord who promises He is with us when we gather in His name. Believe there were many, many healings of the soul. God is so good, He is so merciful, and has such a gentle heart.
The Lord sent His cloud to this retreat. We prayed that this cloud of His presence would not only be here, but that its concentration would increase day by day, and that's exactly what happened.
I had a serious problem with my knee for almost 2 months. Severe pain during the prayer for spiritual fire as I prayed and remained in God's presence until Boris Salovich asked, "Who wants to check themselves?" I began to examine myself, and I felt no pain at all. It was truly a miracle, and I am immensely grateful to God.
We look forward to welcoming you to future retreats to experience God's grace and freedom together.